Hey guys, welcome. It's Too Tall Tom here. So for something different, while I record over my Herald Runs audio, I'm going to answer the 36 questions that Buzzfeed Yellow has for men, since I'm a guy. Obviously these questions are directed at me, so let's get started.
How does it feel to be the same sex as Donald Trump?
Well, since I'm Canadian, that doesn't really matter to me. I don't know how that affects anything at all, though. How does it feel to be the same sex as ex-woman who has done horrible things in the past?
Why do you hate rom-coms? Or do you...
Well, they are just not my kind of movie. In general, I find I don't really like comedies. I just like, I don't know, action or thriller movies. So that's how it is, I guess.
Everybody likes The Notebook. Everybody likes Beyonce.
No, I don't think everybody likes either of those things. I'm sure you could find a lot of women that don't like Beyonce or The Notebook either, so I don't have to, since it's all subjective.
Why do you make women sit around and talk about men in movies?
When y'all easily just sit around and talk about boobs for hours.
Why do you...
For the first one, I'm not personally a film director or a screenwriter, so I don't make women talk about anything in movies. And as for the second one, I don't know what guys you're talking to. At least I and my friends tend to talk about video games for hours and tits like 0% of the time.
Why do you automatically assume that you won't like TV or movies that star a female lead?
Again, I don't know where you're coming from on this one. I actually recently watched an anime called Psychopaths, which has a female lead, and I found her to be one of the best characters in an anime I've seen, like, ever. I mean, I don't watch a whole lot of anime, but I find when I tend to, it tends to be very good. So, female lead or not, that doesn't really dictate the merits of the show for me, and I'm pretty sure it doesn't affect the merits of the show for any other guy.
When women are funny.
I'm probably funnier than you.
I don't know, you haven't made me laugh once this video other than at these ridiculous questions.
Why do you think that we're obsessed with you when we...
I have no idea where this one's coming from, so I'm just gonna skip it.
Why can't I sleep with as many people as I want to without being judged? When men do it, they're congratulated.
Okay, now this question is kind of the one that made me want to do the video because this one is just a flat out lie. I was recently in college with a bunch of guys, a couple of my friends. There was 4 of us in the house, and there's one guy who was, much more, I guess, good with the ladies than we were, and he would pick up girls, and I can tell you from experience that that is a lie because we never congratulated him, and actually it got to a point where we had to sit down and talk to him about it and be like, hey, look, man, don't sleep with chicks unless you consider having them as your girlfriend. It actually got to the point where there was an agreement, or I guess a bet, where if he sleeps with another girl without considering her to be his girlfriend, he had to get punched in the face. So I don't know if this is something that only dude bros ask. I'm quite nerdy, as you can see. I'm doing an Algalon kill, so I'm not exactly a lady killer. But really, this, from my experience, is a total lie.
Why do you consider a woman a tease if she doesn't sleep with you after 3 dates, but a slut if she sleeps with you on the...
Again, this is just a massive generalization of all guys. I actually tend to not want to sleep with a girl until we get into a relationship. I've had girls in the past actually ask me if I was gay because I didn't make a move on them after basically just meeting them without even going on a date with them. So like, I guess my question would be, why do you girls think that a guy's gay if he doesn't constantly hit on you at all hours of the day? Like, that kind of seems weird too.
In what world does no mean yes?
No means no.
Why do you...
Oh, okay. So I guess all guys are rapists too, because we apparently think that no means yes. Okay.
No.
Why do you say that women are too emotional to be leaders?
Then justify catcalling by saying men just can't control themselves.
I guess here's another question that doesn't actually have anything to do with me, because I don't pick my leaders based on sex. I pick them based on merits and what their platforms I agree with. Not, recently I had an election, and I voted for Trudeau just because I kind of didn't want Harper in the office. I don't know if it's different in America, but I mean, like, I don't see anyone actually using that as a legitimate argument against voting for someone in any capacity. So I don't know where that's coming from. As for catcalling, I don't know anyone personally who catcalls. I guess that's more of a, like, I don't want to say like an American thing, or just a guy thing. I'm sure there's guys in Canada that do it too, but I just personally don't know anyone who catcalls, and I don't make excuses for them either. So that's just kind of dumb.
Why do you think that just because you're nice to me, I owe you my body?
Again, this one goes back to my comment about how women have thought that I was gay just because I didn't want to sleep with them. It's kind of going both ways at this point, where people seem to construe just being nice to someone with, hey, they really want to fuck you. That's not really the case in a lot of aspects. So I think it's probably because of the hookup culture that's kind of been perpetuated by a lot of these dating apps. Like, I personally would be looking for a relationship before I have sex, just because that feels a little bit more natural for me. But I guess everyone has different standards. I knew guys in college that would, they'd hook up with chicks, without even dating them, and then, 3 strikes, they're out kind of thing. And, I didn't really look at those guys with respect. I kind of thought they were douchebags.
Why would you ever send an unsolicited dick pic?
As for this one, I don't personally send dick pics, but they do kind of have a point with that. With a lot of the girls that I've talked to playing online, they will just get unsolicited dick pics. It's not all guys, but I'm sure it's enough for them to, it's in their minds when they meet a guy playing online. And you know what? That's just how some assholes are. Like, we're never gonna change that. That's like, it's just, that's how some guys operate, I guess. It's not right. We shouldn't make excuses for them. But thinking that, like, it'll ever go away is kind of wishful thinking.
Why do you feel like it's okay to harass women or make offensive comments about women, but when somebody does it to your sister, it's not okay?
Again, this one doesn't really apply to me because my friends don't really do that. We're not dicks. But I would say it's probably the same as if you were, making fun of some guy, and then, you wouldn't want someone making fun of your brother. That's just fraternal things. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of common sense that you would have a different reaction to someone you don't know than to someone you're personally attached to. It's just common sense.
How does it feel to interrupt me when I'm in the middle of making a point during a meeting?
Yeah, I can agree with you. That's rude behavior, but guys do that to other guys all the time too. Me and my friends, when we're talking, usually we'll butt in when, we have a point, to the point where I think we had to sit down and be like, okay, we gotta let people finish each other's conversation, or each other's points. So it's not like it just happens to women; it happens to guys too. It's just, if the person has that kind of personality, it's, they can't really help it. I have a friend who does it all the time, and at first it annoyed me, but once I got to know him well and he was a good friend, it's like, I don't really care. Whatever. It's just how they are.
You have to sit with your legs so wide open.
I get that you have balls, but I don't stand around with my arms wide open to make room for my boobs.
I don't know. That's never been something I've done, but is it really that much of a problem? I mean, boobs aren't, attached under your armpits, so it's not like you have to make room for them. They're attached on your chest. That'd be like a guy saying that he needs to spread open his arms because he works out a lot and has big pecs. Like, that just doesn't correlate. As for manspreading, I'm pretty sure it's not really as big of a problem as you guys make it out to be. Because I think in these pictures, when there's like, oh, here's a guy manspreading, fuck him, it's like one guy on a train. Like, that's not an accurate representation of all guys.
Why are women perceived as the weaker sex, even though we literally birth you, like watermelons through like this?
I don't really have any opinion on this too. I've met a lot of women who are stronger emotionally than guys were. But, you know, when you go to the gym, you see the guys deadlifting, 200, 300 pounds. It's a lot more normal to see a guy deadlifting that much than a girl, whether or not you want people to look at you differently. As for giving birth, that can show strength of character, but that doesn't show physical strength. I mean, it's a lot of pain, and it's it's a whole lot to endure. But I mean, like, guys can say the same about getting kicked in the balls. I mean, just because you can get kicked in the balls and then get back up after feeling a lot of pain, that doesn't make you strong. It just means that it fucking hurt. So I mean, yeah, like, it's hard for women to give birth, but that doesn't correlate directly to more physical strength.
Why is it so bad to show your emotions?
It means you're human.
Why are
This one's another one that kind of, it's different depending on the guy, right? Like, I don't really show my emotions because unless I personally trust you, and that's understandable. You don't want to, I guess it's different for women, but you don't want to show personal weakness if you don't know the person is your friend and isn't just going to stab you in the back for it and, tear you down in your in an emotionally weak point in your life. Like, I don't know, I always thought that women were the same. Like, they're not going to go up to someone they know isn't really their friend or don't really think is their friend and then just, bring all this stuff, these emotional, what's the word I'm looking for? These weak points in their life to them if they think they're just going to use them against them. Like, that's just kind of not, it's just not smart to do, I guess. That's just my point on it.
Why are you always trying to prove your masculinity to me?
What?
From my experience, girls like guys that are a little more masculine. I don't personally go out trying to prove my masculinity, but I've had a lot of friends who are girls, and they've, flat out said, like, oh, I like guys who are, a little more built, or I like guys with beards, which are more traditional masculine traits. It's just how they're wired to be attracted to people. I'm not faulting them for that, but, like, hell, if that's the easiest way to attract a mate, I mean, why wouldn't you? That's like, having a hammer in your toolbox and deciding to punch the nail into the board. It just doesn't make sense.
Isn't it ladylike to cuss? When did words get gendered?
Again, I don't know who you're talking to that's that, pompous and prissy and that stuck up. Like, I was talking to a girl and I was interested in her and she cussed a lot and it didn't really have any effect on my attraction to her. It was just, like, for me personally, I don't cuss because, like, I just don't find it appropriate a lot of times. Like, if I'm angry, I'll cuss, but, like, that's kind of, words lose their power when you use them a lot. So, like, the F word, if you use it all the time, it doesn't have the emotional impact as, like, if you're pissed off and then use it and you're not the type of person to use it ever. People are like, whoa, he's obviously pissed off, so, steer clear, or, like, we'll find out what's wrong. It's just, that's how it is. If you use it all the time, it's just not going to have any impact when you use it.
Why is it your first instinct to doubt women who have been sexually violated or raped?
But I don't get this one either. Like, that's the law. The law is innocent until proven guilty. So, like, even when someone's brought up on a murder charge, are you supposed to automatically assume that they actually did it before they're proven to be guilty? It's, like, yeah, rape is a horrible thing, and, we do want people who have been legitimately raped to come forward, but that's a very, very heavy accusation to put on someone. And, there's not a whole lot of proof as far as that goes, unless they have, a rape kit done right after the fact. So when, someone comes forward, I think, like, the Gomeshi case, where I think it was, like 5 to 10 years later, it's like, okay, why are you coming forward now? People come forward in, like, assaults and murders just right after the fact. So why would you try and, like, play it off and still kind of be friends with this person if they did that? That just doesn't seem like regular human behavior or behavior of a victim.
Why do you assume a woman's angry because she's on her period?
Why?
Okay, I've never used this one either, but I think this is just a stereotype. That's like really just a joke that you hear online sometimes. I don't think anyone actually legitimately uses it as, oh, you know, that's the reason, whatever.
Why do you think women that wear makeup are false advertising? We can say the same thing about your dick size.
Again, this is another terrible, fucking comparison by Buzzfeed. Makeup is literally made to, you know, veil and change the appearance of someone. It's been used in the past as disguises. Why else would it, you know, be so good at changing, you know, the look of your face to make you more attractive? You know, if some guy's putting fucking, like, Play-Doh on the end of his dick to make it look longer, yeah, that would be false advertising in the same respect, but nobody does that. You know, a better comparison would be like, I don't know, putting a sock in your fucking, fucking, oh god, I lost the word for it, in your boxers, but really, like, there's no comparison at all there.
Isn't it weird that there's a bunch of old white men sitting in a room making legislation about what I can and can't do with my body?
Do you have a coochie?
I don't know, then elect more women. Like, I guess it's the same in Canada, but, like, that's like the same thing I can say. Like, why are there a bunch of old white guys making legislation about my body as a 22-year-old man? You know, they're 40 years older than me, and they have different bodies than me. Like, nobody's body's the same. You know what? Why are they making legislation on people that are completely built when they're not completely built? It can be said about anyone. There just has to be someone in that role, and I would prefer to have someone who has medical expertise or was elected than someone's just there based on some arbitrary quota.
Straight guys so obsessed with lesbians.
Now, I guess this, again, isn't personally for me since I don't really watch lesbian porn, but I would assume for the guys that prefer it over straight porn, it's kind of like maybe they're insecure about their sexuality, so, like, if they even see a guy in the act of fucking a chick or, you know, a dick, maybe they're just like, oh, I don't want to see that, so I just want to see lesbians. Or maybe they feel jealous when they see a male porn star fucking a female porn star, so they just prefer to watch, you know, lesbian porn. I don't know. It's person's personal taste. I can't, you know, understand what's going on inside their mind.
Does it feel to get kicked in the balls?
Do you ever
Wow, I'm actually surprised. This is actually a legitimate question for BuzzFeed. It kind of feels like, it's like a crushing, like a gut feeling that comes up that just makes you feel like you want to puke. Like, it's a very weird feeling, but it feels like you're sick to your stomach, like, immediately. So it's incredibly crippling, and oh, it hurts, and it's like a blunt pain too. Like when, say, if you get cut, that's like a very sharp pain, and it's kind of got like a fiery. It's like a blunt, just a bam, just makes you feel like you want to fucking puke.
tired of trying to be manly all the time?
Again, this doesn't have anything to do with me. I don't try to be manly. As far as, do you try to be nerdy all the time? No, I put in, like, literally zero effort into my looks. So, no, it's not really that hard, and I love it for that. I'm really lazy.
Why are you so afraid of gender equality?
Again, I don't really know where this comes from. That seems really out of the blue, and a very general question. I don't think anyone is afraid of gender equality. I would assume that we've had gender equality for years, since it's not... Like, if there was an inequality, I believe that it would be all women fighting against it, not just, you know, some women on, like, Buzzfeed and other, like, radical feminists. I would assume that everyone would be up in arms, and thus it would be a legitimate thing to fight against, or fight for, not against.
Why do I deserve to be paid less than you?
In what world does 77 cents equal $1?
In what world does 68 cents equal $1?
The gender wage gap is just a myth, so I'm not even going to touch on it since it's boring to talk about. And in a world that is true, it's Canada right now, actually. I'm pretty sure that Canadian dollar is 77 cents, or close to that, to an American dollar, or it has been in the past. So welcome to Canada.
that fair? Why are you intimidated by a woman who makes more money than you? That's awesome.
I don't think intimidation is the right word. I think jealous. I guess as far as they're talking about, the breadwinner in a family, I don't know, I guess some people find it demasculating. I personally wouldn't care if my wife was bringing in more money than me, as long as I am bringing in, a reasonable amount of money. If I was, making no money and my wife was making more, making all the money, I wouldn't feel jealous or intimidated. I would just feel bad because I'm not bringing anything to the table. I would feel like I'm a burden on her because, that's a part of the relationship, is you should both be providing equally or as equal as you can into the relationship.
Women seen as bitches.
When opinionated men are seen as bosses.
I don't know, I kind of find them both to be dicks. That is, in case they, both openly, or more than they should, share their opinions, but really, I don't really see guys as bosses if they're very opinionated. I just see them as dicks.
Why aren't you speaking up when you hear your male friends behind closed doors make jokes that are offensive to women?
Why are you so...
What, are we not allowed to laugh about that? Does that go both ways, where women aren't allowed to make, women, why aren't you, speaking up when women say jokes that are offensive to guys? I think people should be allowed to joke about whatever they want behind closed doors, as long as it's funny. Racial jokes, whatever, as long as you're among friends and that the people don't hold that as their personal opinion, they're just making a joke. They should be able to joke about whatever they want.
Why are you so afraid of recognizing your own privilege? Doesn't mean you're a bad person. Just recognize it and do something about it.
I don't know, because everyone has their own, aspect of life, and that's where our individuality comes from. I was actually thinking about this on a walk, and I was thinking about who would I actually be if, I didn't have what I have or had growing up. And it's kind of crazy to think about how it's kind of a mixture of nature and nurture, where if I maybe grew up north, more northern than I am, because I am in Canada, but I'm in a very south part of Canada, then maybe I would be much more inclined to be into sports and into, hockey, You're talking about, But really, because I grew up with video games for a majority of my life, that's just, what my interests are, and, I'm looking for a relationship that has that aspect in it. That's something I just consider when looking for a partner, because, I'm not looking for sex like these Buzzfeed women apparently think all guys are. I'm just looking for a companion. And, I know it's probably going to take a long time, because with how society's been structured now, sex is almost like an application for a relationship now. If you don't have sex with the chick, she doesn't really consider you as a relationship partner, which actually happened to me recently with a girl. I don't know if she was actually considering me a relationship partner, but she tried to have sex with me, and I just wasn't feeling it, and it was just I'm pretty sure that's where I lost in the race to becoming her boyfriend. But you know what? That's fine. I don't hold that against her. I'm her friend. But I'm looking for someone who doesn't really consider sex as an integral part. But I know it's been really rambly. I really thank you guys for watching, and congratulations again to me for finally getting Twink Trap through the Herald Run as top DPS. So I'll have more videos coming. So like, comment, and subscribe.